Hey guys, Mav here. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of my 3rd gen 4Runner today. I get a ton of questions on Instagram and YouTube about what I've done to the 4Runner, so I figured I'd make a general walkthrough of everything that I've done over the past 5 years of owning it. So let's check it out. Alright, up front here we got the Schrockworks full hoop steel bumper. I've got Baja Design Squadron Pros in the Ambers up front, and then the XL Pros in a spot beam pattern. You'll see I don't have a winch up here. I've never had a winch on the 4Runner. Most times in places that I go off-roading and stuff, I've been able to drive myself out of a situation that I've never needed a winch for, thankfully. Also up front, I've got BX built LED headlights. These are definitely something I recommend as a first purchase. I think just for safety, the factory headlights, you can't see anything at night. Compared to these, you have a perfect clean cutoff line so you're not blinding oncoming drivers. The brights on these are so bright that I actually quit using the 30-inch light bar that I had on my Sherpa rack. So I highly recommend these. Alright, up front for suspension, we got the BTF 4.5-inch long travel kit. You can get this at optoffroad.com. He got all my suspension stuff for me as well, the Kings, the bumps, King coilovers, and the King bump stops that go with it as well. So the kit itself comes with upper and lower control arms. You get it custom CV axles for the 4-wheel drive, if you have 4-wheel drive. And then you get the steering extensions for your outer tie rods. This 4.5-inch kit is, at least from my knowledge, the widest you can go with the 3rd gen 4Runners, because there's other companies out there, but they're all 3.5-inch kits. This one, I believe, gets 14 inches of suspension travel with 4-wheel drive. You can check on optoffroad.com for the exact specs and everything. But I can say this has been the biggest game changer for the 4Runner. I went from an Icon Stage 3 suspension before this, and I had a great time with Icon. Never had any issues. You hear a lot of horror stories about Icon, but now switching over to King suspension, night and day. The comfort on-road, the comfort off-road, and then still being able to like go mob down the desert whenever I want to, it can be done with the King suspension, and the long travel kit gives it that much more performance over just like a mid-travel setup. 2 little like supporting mods that I did for the 4Runner up front as well with the long travel kit was the Total Chaos spindle gussets, and I got some top hat gussets for the actual like coilover bucket where your coilover mounts to strengthen that whole area, because there's been times, at least I've seen pictures, where people have jumped their 4Runners and when they land they actually bend those coilover buckets up, and to repair those is a pain in the ass. I can't imagine the work that has to go into it to fix those. Alright, so here on the side of the 4Runner I've got method race wheels. I've had these since the beginning of the 4Runner. I just love the way they look. I love the machine face. I love the glamour ring beadlock around the outside. I had BFG KO2s before these Yokohamas. Those were fantastic tires. I loved them. These have been amazing as well. My only gripe is just how noisy they are, but they are mud terrain, so they're gonna be loud. If I could go back, I would definitely go to another all-terrain tire. I've been looking at Falcon Wild Peaks, the new Nitto Recon Grapplers. Those have been some pretty interesting looking tires. But moving on, we got Schrockworks rock sliders. They're bolt-on rock sliders. I've never had any issues with them before. I've dropped the full weight of the 4Runner on it before and hasn't bent, hasn't broken or cracked or anything. So those have been fantastic. I don't know if I talked about this. The ditch lights are Baja Designs S2 Pros. Those are insanely bright. I've had a couple other lights as ditch lights before, but these have been probably the best so far. If you've noticed, or if you follow me on Instagram, I don't have my Sherpa rack up here right now. So I have the Sherpa Matterhorn roof rack up top. I normally have my Max Tracks up there, and then a rooftop tent I carry as well. I took it down because I was kind of doing some work to the roof on the inside, but that'll be another video to go into. And in the rear, I've got the Feel Good Performance shock relocation. This kit has been such an improvement over factory mounting points for the shocks. So when you bring the shocks out and bring them parallel to each other, you actually get better stability with the suspension itself. And I've never had sway bars on the 4Runner. Ever since I first bought it, I took the sway bars off just because it's better articulation when you're off-roading. So I've got Old Man Emu 861 springs in the rear for all the weight that I normally have back here, and then King 2-inch by 12-inch travel shocks in the rear with remote reservoirs. Underneath the 4Runner, I've got Nitro gears, 488 gears with AirB air lockers front and rear. That's been huge. Everyone talks about like how slow and shitty and sluggish our Toyotas become because we throw a bunch of weight on it and lift kits and big tires and all this stuff, but we never talk about gearing. Gearing's probably the #1 thing that's going to help propel the vehicle along, help with gas mileage, help with comfort, and just reliability, because you can put a lot of strain on the transmission if you're running those factory gears with all the weight that you put on it with the big tires and stuff like I mentioned. 488s have been great for me. I think with this not being a daily driver, I would have probably went with 529s, but at the time I was still daily driving the 4Runner. But I think from now on, if I have a vehicle that's secondary, like overlanding vehicle, it's going to be 529 gears for sure. I forgot to mention in the back, I have the Opt-Off-Road adjustable control arms. It's your upper and lowers. They're built by Curry Axle, I believe, but they have huge FK? I think they're FK Heim joints on the back, and they're massive. Like, they're huge knuckles compared to the little itty-bitty factory mounting points, because I actually did have a bent lower rear control arm before I put these on, and they've been great. Like, the adjustability is really nice to be able to adjust the axle like forward or back depending on like where you need it in the articulation and stuff. And then I have extended brake lines. I have the Panhard bar drop kit to kind of help with that geometry back there. When you lift it, your Panhard bar comes out of whack and it actually scoots your axle over. So relocating that back to level, it brings your axle back to center. So here in the back, I've got the Schrockworks steel bumper with their swing out. This has been really great, 0 issues. Just mounts my spare tire, license plate, but then I can mount my 4-gallon Rotopack back here. I love Rotopacks compared to jerry cans just because of weight savings and then ease of use. Like, using the Rotopack it's like using any other like little gas container. It's so compact. Like, technically I think you could mount 2 on top of each other, so I could have 8 gallons back here if I really wanted to. I do have a hitch receiver underneath. I just have a factory 55 hitch link to pull people out, or if I need to get pulled out or something. That's been great. And then the taillights, they're just like eBay specials. They're LED regular turn signals and LED reverse lights. Nothing crazy, but off eBay, I don't know, they were like 130 bucks or something, and I've had them for five years or so, and they've never burnt a bulb, and they still look great. So highly recommend those. They look good. So big change on the inside. I took the rear seats out completely. I love having the extra space. There's not really any time that I have multiple people in the 4Runner. It's maybe just one passenger, and so that's what kind of warranted pulling out the rear seats for more space. And it's been amazing. Like, there's so much room back here now in the back of the 4Runner. But also in here I have kill mat sound deadening material all the way through the 4Runner on the interior. So like a ton of sound deadening material that helps with on-road noise, especially with the noisy mud terrains and rocks hitting the inside and stuff like that. It's definitely quieted it down a bunch and even helped insulate it a bit more on the inside. So that's been awesome. I highly recommend sound deadening material by Killmat, or I know there's other companies out there that make it. So on the inside, I haven't really done too much up here. I just got WeatherTech floor mats. I put in just like an Alpine single DIN radio. I do have a RAM mount here for my phone. I know Scarab Technologies on optoffroad.com, they just came out with a RAM mount that replaces the clock on the inside. So that would have been really nice back when I did that, because I literally just drilled into the dash with self-tapping screws to mount this. But it doesn't go anywhere. It's awesome. On the left side of my steering wheel, I do have an S-Pod for all my lighting, for my AirB compressor and my AirB lockers. S-Pod's been amazing. I know there's a couple other companies out there that are great as well, but I've had zero issues with S-Pod, and it's been in the 4Runner for years now, and no issues. I do have a little 8-ball for my transfer case, and just some patches up here, so I look all overlandy. But I mean, that's really it on the inside, to be honest with you. There's not too much going on in here. Alright, so I think that pretty much concludes the overview on the 4Runner. If you guys have any more questions, please leave them in the comments. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe, I really appreciate it. I really want to start pumping out more and more videos about the 4Runner and just videos in general. I'm really loving filming and making videos and editing and stuff, so more to come. But thanks for watching. Peace out.